god. Hi everyone. Ooh, 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 ooh. How is everyone doing? Do you have a good Saturday morning? Wait, no. No! Work for me. Work for me. There we go. Yes. Is this me? Okay. Okay, now I'm prepared. Oh, maybe not. Wait. Peekaboo! Oh my god, there I am. Did I scare you? Hi, Ungu. Hi. Look! You have the green cup of tea now. Beautiful. Beautiful. I like it. I like it. Boom, boom, boom. That means you've been a subscriber for 1 month. Yay! You're not white anymore. Hi, Oblivia. How you doing? I'm very happy today. It's probably because I slept so well. I slept like 9 hours. You jump scares me. Kapow! And yeah, my 3D model is going well. Looking forward to it. Apparently it's halfway done. So now it's only the rest of the half left. Yes. So that's cool. By the way, how are you? I'm good. Yeah. I've been sleeping well. I am been cuddling with Kitty this morning. My 3D model is going well. Yeah, my hockey team lost last night, so I'm pretty bummed about that. But it's okay. It's the first loss game of the season, so I guess that's fine. But it's kind of sad because we lost against the worst team in the series. So it's like, if we had to lose, did we really have to lose to like the worst team? But yeah, I don't know what it is because my team have been really bad after Christmas. Like, I don't know if it's because, because the whole team or like half the team got COVID after Christmas. And I'm not sure if they like still tired from it or what it is, but they don't produce any goals anymore. And like, I don't know, they use shit now. What happened? But I don't know. I guess it's just how it is. Hi Phoenix, good morning. I almost lose my balance with a jump scare. Lol. Hello Queen. I can't stay to stream today. Sorry, I'm in school. Oh, that's fine, Tommy. That's fine. I didn't know you had weekend school. That's kind of cool. What are you doing today? Like what classes? I'm so relaxed. I can't move. By gathering strength to get morning tea. Oh no. I already drank my morning tea. No kitty, no. What do you want? Okay, he's leaving. I already have my morning tea. Maybe I should have done a cup more because I'm out. Damn. Oh. Hey, look at PDF. We're going online class. No PDF. PowerPoint. Because I'm oldie but goldie. Wait, slideshow. Bam. There we go. Now you can see it. But yeah, I'm going to just do like a wrap up of all the books I've been reading and my thoughts on them. I don't think it's going to be that long. I mean, I did read 17 or 16 books. I don't know. If I do start, spacing out and start talking way too much, just tell me move on. And I will move on. Because I can't talk for ages on every book, but I will try not to. And after that, we will do some chill gaming. It will probably be League of Legends because I've been really into League of Legends lately. because there's a new champion coming out on League of Legends that's a support, and as a support main I really want to play her, but she's not out until 3 weeks. Yes, Kitty, that's true, that's true. So I'm just practicing my League skills and how to play alone, because I really don't like playing League of Legends alone, but I feel like I have to sometimes. Because my friends are never online. To be fair, I only have one friend on League, and he plays with other people. Zed. Queen, your eyes are the same color as my waifu. I'm attracted. Oh no. Hi Polly, I'll be able to stay, but I wanted to wish you a happy stream. I hope you sleep well, Polly. I know you were tired. Yeah. Wait, where am I? Bulbas. Kitty! I'm trying to have a lecture. Thank you. God damn it. I just realized I didn't specify. Wait. 16 books. There we go. Now we can do a slideshow. No, what happened? What happened to me? There I am. Scuff. Chill games, League of Legends. Yeah. League of Legends is the chillest of the games. Maybe it's not chill for you. It's chill for me. I'm a mermaid and I splash water on people. I go sploosh sploosh. Take my squirting water. Okay, that sounds wrong. You get it. I don't like these bubbles. Wait. I shall fix something. Kitty, I don't know what you want. You go meow meow, meow 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 meow. And then when I say you go meow meow meow, meow meow. Every downtime. Okay. I am scrolling. Kitty, don't lick my feet. It's weird. There we go. The circles are gone. Look at me. I know how to work. What kind of champion? Not chill game, FPS game. No, I don't like FPS game. I don't like shooting games. But the new champion is called Renata, I think. She has shields. She has buffs. Her ultimate does so the enemy team start fighting among themselves instead of, so they don't get controlled. She also have an ability to resurrect a champion for 3 seconds or 5 seconds, maybe something like that. And when she walks, she has like one of her hands in her pants pocket, and she has like a small gun, and she like struts like she's a boss. I like it. And she has a robot following her. It's kind of cool. Maybe we should have some music. Do we want music? Why am I thinking of everything like, last minute? Chill music. Royalty free. Let's go. Oh yeah, I like this. Yeah. Is that fine, or is that too loud? Sounds cool? She sounds very overpowered though. She has a lot more things to her than should be possible. Hi H, how you doing? Oh, you're green too. Use no copyright, or I don't know. I mean, it is. What are you talking about? Yeah, I was successfully got out of bed. Yay! There we go. Tell me if it's too loud and I will put down the music. I need to stretch. Ah! Sorry. It's 5 a.m. and I'm shoveling snow. Oh no, no snow shoveling. I'm just helping you, queen. Yeah. I'm not dumb. I'm like 5 times older than you. Come on. Let's go. Before we start, I want to tell you my system of grading books, because it's very important. It's very important, you know? Because if I just say, oh, I give this 1 star, you're going to be like, yeah, but what does 1 star mean to you? Because, you know, grading systems are different for different people. So I'm going to give you an update what the stars mean to me, okay? So the first one, let's see. Like 5 stars, like the highest of the high. It means that if a fire starts in the castle, I will save this book before I save anyone else. This book is more important to me than any person alive. Now you know. Number 4. It means if you accidentally die in the fire that I didn't, you know, get to save you from, this book could make me happy. So if you die, this book makes me happy. Okay. Number 3. 3 stars. It means I'm surprised. It's an okay book. I get it. It's not like, you know, if you die and I read this, it's not gonna make me, oh my god, I'm happy now. It's going to make me like, I guess so. You know? It's an okay book overall. You a bit more bit. No. This is how it is. So like 3 stars, it's average. It's super average. It's like, it was an okay read. I liked some part of it. Some part was like, but you know, I was a little bit entertained. 2 stars, it means this is a shit book. This is shit. Like, absolute shit. But I get it. You know? Because some books are like, you hate it, but you understand why people like it. And you can understand why maybe it's popular. Or you understand why, you know, it some people like it. And you can understand where the author is coming from and what they wanted to have said with the book. And you can appreciate that. But you don't like it yourself. So it's a 2 star. It's like, okay, I get, I'm gay, I get it. It's not my cup of tea, but I get it. I did not enjoy it. It felt like torture reading it, but I get it. 1 star on the other hand, that's pure torture. I don't understand why that book exists in the world at all. It's like, okay, why was it written? What's the point of it? Do we really need it? If we start like a fire pitch, you know, that book should be the first one we use, you know, when we start a fire. I mean, this is a book we don't, you know, save in a fire. It's also like, you know, when you wish that you can go back in time and tell yourself that don't be stupid, don't pick this book up because you're going to waste your time. And I know some people still read, like, if they realize the book is shit, they stop reading it and they put them away. Or DNF them, do not finish, as some people say in the booktube community. But for me, I can't. Even if the book is absolute dog shit, I can't put the book down. Not because I think it's going to be better, but because I have like this thing in me that if I start a book, I need to finish it. I can't just start it and be like, no, I'm not gonna finish it. I have to finish it. It's going to take a long time because it's absolute torture reading it. And when I'm finished with it, I just hate it so much, and I wish that I could go back in time and just tell myself, don't be stupid, do not pick this up. Kinda. Or even better, if I could go back in time to the author and bitch slap them and telling them, do not even write this shit, because then I'm going to pick it up and I don't want to pick it up. You know, even better. What if it's pure torture reading, but you still understand why others love it? I mean, that would be two stars, you know, because it's like torture and you don't like it per se. You don't like it yourself, and you can't find any part of it that you do like, but you understand why other people like it. So, kitty, stop it. So you will have a 2-star for that one, I think. Because the 3-star for me means that suddenly I find some part of it that I like, or there's something about the book I like. The 1 and 2 stars are basically, I don't like it. There's not much about the book that I do like, or anything at all. But I either understand it, or there's like a tiny bit of the book that I like, or I don't understand it and I want to tell the world that do not read this book. Kinda. And these are more like, I like it more, or I absolutely love it, of course, or I like it, like, I like at least 75% of the book I like. Because sometimes, you know, you don't like all the book. There's always some part that you don't like, or most of the cases, and then I would give it 4 stars, because then I like at least 75% of the book. Either if it's the story or the writing style or whatever, it could always be something that's lacking, but if it's just like a small bit that's lacking, I'm not going to give it 3 stars, I'm giving it 4 stars. But it's like, you know, yeah. but that's how I rate my books, at least. That's my ratings. I know some people are much nicer in their ratings. I think I'm pretty brutal when it comes to my ratings, but I'm not sure. I know that some people have like I love it, I like it, it's okay, it's meh, and I don't really like it. Which I don't really understand, because it's like, I love, like, okay, yeah, maybe you could say it's the same, but not really. No. Who knows? Should we get into the first book that I read, because it's an absolute shit book. Ugh. The first book I read of the year, I read this the first day. 1st of January I read this. I started it and I finished it on the same day. I hated it. To be fair, I did start it in December. I read like 2 pages and I was like, I don't like it. I will read it another time, so I put it away. And then in January I was like, I should probably finish it, or I should start it again, because I only read 2 pages. Yeah, so I picked it up again. Big mistake. But it's written by Lewis Carroll. Lewis Carroll is, as many might know, the guy who wrote Alice in Wonderland. And this is called Sylvie and Bruno. It's roughly 200 pages, 208 pages. It's not a long book. It's not one and all. It's not like one story. Because the book is about a guy that when he daydreams, or when he goes to sleep, he dreams of 2 children called Sylvie and Bruno, and they are fairies, and they are children to the fairy king. And so when this guy, I don't remember the main character's name because they don't talk about his name so much. So when he goes to sleep, he basically go to different places where Sylvie and Bruno has like small tales. One of the tales is about Bruno ripping up Sylvie's garden, and the main character is helping Bruno be kind and fix Sylvie's garden and make it prettier than before, because it's better to be nice than bad. And then there's another story. Okay, I don't remember the other stories. God damn. That's the only one I remember, because it has sunflowers in it and it's my favorite flower. So I remember that I was like, oh my god, they're planting sunflowers. That's cool. Oh, there was some story about a snail of some sort. If they were riding snails. No, they were hunting snails. That was it. And then they said, we don't hunt them to kill them. We're hunting them for fun. And then the main character was like, yeah, but snails are so slow, so they can't be that hard to like hunt them. And then they have like a discussion about why humans are hunting bigger animals like mooses and reindeers. So I understand, like, that's why I've given it 2 stars, because like every story in this, they don't really go together very well, and I didn't like that. It was very hopping from one story to another story. Like, I didn't understand the pattern of it. But then like, yeah, she has DC comic books. I do. Hi Timothy. Oh my god, so many I haven't read yet. Here we go, another book review, let's go. Do you have comics about Infinity Gauntlet Marvel? I don't have the Infinity Gauntlet Marvel, but I do have DC comics, I do, yeah. I do have some Marvel comics too. You aren't lying when you says you're a booktuber, lol. No, I don't. But yeah, I didn't really like this book. I understand it because every story had like a purpose. And I understand this book is written for kids, just like Alice in Wonderland is written for kids. But this book, it was like, I think the purpose is to read one of the small stories for children before bed and then have a discussion, because it was very much, this is bad, don't do this, be a good kid, do not talk about this, do not curse, cursing is bad. So I felt like it was very educational and very structured like that, and I don't know, I just didn't like it. It didn't give me anything, but I can understand why it is a classic. But I didn't like Alice in Wonderland either, because I find Alice to be very bratty. So I can't say I have liked any of Lewis Carroll's books so far. But there is one book, I don't remember the name of it. Wait, I can go and check. I have it in my bookcase. Ah! Ooh! There we go. Okay, so there's one book here. It's called A Tangled Tale. And it's supposed to be about a math guy, a math scientist or something like that, and his love for math and chemistry. And that's the only one that's not written for kids. And I think I would like that more. It's only 50 or 100 pages, so I would probably finish it in an hour or so. Suddenly the sun is gone and I can't see anything. There we go. No, it's not so dark. Cursing is real bad. Actually, rarely watch your streams, but yeah. But have you cursed in stream? Just curious? I do curse, yeah. The Killing Joke comic is my favorite. Mine too. But there's apparently a Sylvie and Bruno second book. And I do have it because I have like a compilation of all Louis' books. But I don't think I will read Sylvie and Bruno book number 2. Maybe I do it if I'm very desperate and I don't have anything else to read, but I'm not impressed with the writing style and I'm not impressed by anything by Lewis so far, so I might not. Last year I read both Alice in Wonderland and I read Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is the second book. I didn't like any of them and I didn't like this one. So now I have read 3 books by Lewis and no, not my taste, not my taste. Moving on. Understandable. Have a good day. Bye-bye, Timothy. I also read a manga this year. I read it the 2nd of January, I think. This is number 7 in the series. I'm not gonna tell you what happened in number 7 or volume 7 because I think that would be to spoil the entire series because we are getting closer to the end. But it's written by one of my favorite manga artists, Shuzo Oshimi. He does horror or thriller like books or mangas, and they're not like, you know, your average horror manga. It's more disturbing in the fact that it crawls under your skin. I don't recommend it to people who are not at least 16, 18, not because they're gory or because they're scary in any aspect like that, but they are very disturbing and they do have a lot of sex scenes, and they have sex scenes with minors. Not this one, but his other work do. And I don't know, I wouldn't recommend it for some young kids. Have you read some manga or something? Yeah, this is a manga. No morning tea, power went out. Damn, you have power problems. That's weird. But this manga is roughly about a mom who has issues because I think she has something called post-traumatic care. I don't know the English word for it. I think what I'm trying to say is she after she gave birth to her son, she became depressed. I'm not sure what it's called in English, but she got super depressed and she felt like her life didn't matter and she is wanting to die. But she can't die because she feels like her life is owed to her son and she wants to give her son the best life. But she only sees her son, everyone else does not matter, and she doesn't like people either picking on her son or people picking on her motherhood or the way she is bringing him up. She's very overprotective. She does not let anyone get close to him, no friends, no girlfriends. She's not allowing him to care for anyone but her. He can only like her as a mother. In the beginning I was very confused because I felt like she as a mother was trying to... I felt like she was in love with her son and she wanted her son to love her back in a sexual way, but I don't think that's the case now after I read volume 7. I think it's more depressing and more like her living her life through him and she wanting his life to be perfect, so she's trying to control his life in every aspect as possible. His mom wants him to become a worthy person. Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah. The thing I like about Shuzo Oshimi is, as an author, is he doesn't have a lot of dialogue. A lot of his manga is based on his artwork and he's letting his artwork speak more. As you say, like, art can speak more than 1,000 words or whatever. I kind of like that aspect, but sometimes it's kind of hard to understand what he's trying to say, because sometimes we do need that dialogue, and it is there. But when we do have the dialogue, I'm very confused because it's very rare that I understand 100% what every character means, because you can't read their minds, you know? So this series has been an up and down for me, but in the first manga, I can say that at least in the first manga, it like the son becomes best friends with his cousin, and they are like hanging out a lot, but the cousin is mocking him because he's like, oh, you like your mom, it's not, you know, normal that you like your mom that much, and she's so overprotective of you. And then the entire family and relatives go for like a hiking in the mountains, and this cousin is mocking him when they're like standing next to a cliff, and the mom hears this cousin mocking him, and she basically pushes him off of the cliff. The cousin does not die, but he ends up in a coma, and that's when the son starts realizing that there's something wrong with his mom, because his mom is she starts having really weird stuff going around her, and she's like, oh, I don't mind killing people. And then there's like one part when they see a dead cat, and she's like, oh, he's sleeping so nicely, and I wish I could do that. And the son is like, what? But it's dead. And it's a lot of weird stuff happening after that. It's like a big spiral just going downwards. Got a question. I'm not really know about but there's Queen Ophilia 1 and 2. Yes, there is. They're dead though, but they do exist. But yeah, in the 7th book, the cousin wakes up from his coma. So I think there is 10 books, but this is the newest one that came out, because I get the new books every time they come out when they're translated into English. So yeah, kind of cool. Having moms are wonderful. They taught many things, but not all though. Yeah. It's a weird manga. So, but it's classified as horror, but I myself can't say it's horror. It's weird, that's for sure. But it's not really horror related. It won't make you, oh my god, I can't go to sleep. It makes you more like, oh my god, humans and human emotions are scary as fuck. Yeah. But yeah, I like this one. I do recommend it. He have written other mangas like The Evil Flower. That is also a very good one. That's also very weird, but it's also kind of good. You also have Inside Mari. I think that's my favorite of Sushu. And you also have Happiness, which is a vampire story. So there's a couple of them. I do recommend all of them. Really good ones. After that, I decided to read The Count of Monte Cristo, and it's on 1,276 pages, and it's written by Alexander Dumas. I give it 3 stars. There's so much to talk about when it comes to The Count of Monte Cristo, isn't it? God, I'm just getting frustrated just thinking about that I've read this, because I think it's the hardest book I've read. Not because of the length. Yeah, maybe it is because of the length, actually. Because it's not the way it's written. I don't mind old classic English language. It's fine. It's fine. You know, it doesn't bother me that much. What bothered me was that the second part of the book was meaningless. And I understand it's not meaningless. Oh, I went back. There we go. I understand it's not meaningless, but still. But this book is in 3 parts. Have you read a manga called My Dress Up Darling? Heard it's very popular though. No, I have not read it. Doesn't sound like a manga I would like. I only read or I only read things that are horror or thriller related. That sounds more like a cute manga, but I don't know. Anyway, The Count of Monte Cristo is in 3 parts. The first part is about this guy we're following, and he is coming home from being on the sea. The captain has died, everyone loves him, not the captain but the main character. Even though he's very young, everyone wants him to be the new captain. Why is he going back? I'm not even pressing anything. What? But everyone wants him to be the new captain, and as the new captain, he would get like a lot more money and things, and he's very happy about that. But all he really wants to do is just living a normal life with his loved one, and he's wanting to get married to her very soon. But then when they get back to harbor, he goes to see his old dad, and he realized that his dad is very thin, very sick, and he does not have much money to buy food, so he's been kind of wasting away. So he gets kind of happy that he's back, because now he could treat his dad to proper food. He also proposes to the girl of his dream, and she says yes, and they have a big celebration before the wedding day, because he wants to get married very fast, because he's soon going to be captain and go back to sea with cargo and stuff. So they need to have like a fast wedding. But on his wedding day, he is taken away by the police officers, and they take him, and they don't tell him why, and so forth. It turns out that 2 of his co-workers on the ship is very, they are unhappy that he's going to be captain, because they wanted to be captain and they are older than this main character. So they think that they deserve to get it. So they have like forged a falsely claimed letter that make it seem like the main character is a spy for the French people, or something like that, and that he's trying to get Napoleon to get into the war, or something like that. And because of this, he's put into this hugely secured prison. That's the first part of the book, and I like that part. Also the part is in his year in prison, because he's 14 years he's in prison, and I liked all of that. I liked the way he gets thrown into jail. I like the way he is taken to prison. I like that he is not getting any information. I like that he is in the beginning having hope that soon I'm going to get out of here, and soon I'm going to be with my dad and my loved wife, and I will have my, and he doesn't know who did this to him and why or what happened, because they have never shown him the letter or the fact why he is in prison. But after a couple of years, he realized that he's stuck there, and then he meets this friend, an old man who's on the other side of a cell, and they become best friends. And this old man is a scholar and like super smart, and he's starting to teach Dante, the main character, everything he needs to know, like different languages, physics, math, like everything you need to know, and he becomes like super smart in prison. And I like that part. It's very good. Mm-hmm. Hi Stas, how are you doing? I think I read that book before. Monte Cristo is familiar. I read that in my high school days. Probably, but I don't think you read all 1,000 pages. I think because there's like a summary, like a high school version or like a school version that's 200 pages. That's more like a summary of it. And I think when because I've told people about Monte Cristo and it's like, oh yeah, I read that, but I don't think people have read 1,276 pages of Monte Cristo, because if they have, they would have hated it like I did. Well, not hated it, but hate parts of it. Anyway, the second part of the book is about Dante's getting out of prison. Okay, the escape is kind of cool, not gonna lie about that, it is cool. Then he gets into a smuggler's ship, and on the ship, he becomes friends with everyone on the ship and everything. Also kind of cool. But his prison mate died before he escaped. They were going to escape together, but they didn't. The scholar that I told you about, the old man. This old man also have like, he's telling them that on the island of Monte Cristo, I have hidden a treasure. And if you get out of here, you can have that treasure. And that treasure makes him into a count. Because when he gets the money, he becomes like this super rich guy. And he builds like a huge castle like on the island of Monte Cristo. And then he starts calling himself the Count of Monte Cristo. He's also starting to use his money to find out what happened to him. Like what made them put him into jail. Or why was he in jail to first with, and who was the schemers behind this thing to put him in jail. It was okay to read that part, but then we get to the part when he knows who did it and he's starting to plan his revenge. And the planning of his revenge was 600 to 700 pages. It's basically half the book, if not more. And we have a carnival, we have a festival, we have different opera settings. They're going to watch opera together. They are having dinner parties, and it's very extravagant. It's a lot of backstabbing and talking behind people's backs, and after a while it gets very boring. I understand why we have this part, because I think that the reason why we have this is to say these are the people who were bad. These are their lives now. Did they gain something from it, or did they lose something so they're poor now? Do they deserve to have like a big revenge on them? Can a person be good or bad, or is it like a gray zone? Do they actually deserve all of this? Should Dantes or the Count really do his revenge? What will he gain from doing the revenge? I understand that's the purpose of it, that like, you know, because he befriend all these people and they don't recognize him as Dantes, but he befriend them and just to get close to them, to then understand what he should do to get his revenge. Like, what is it that they love the most, and then he will take it away from them. So like, some love his wealth a lot, so he's like, okay, I will ruin him in that way. But I think all the dinner parties that we are reading is a way to both get to know the character, but also for us as readers feel like they are not bad people. They did one bad thing, yes, but they are not bad human beings. Do they really deserve to have all this done? But I feel like 700 pages of that is still way too much. I thought it was stupid. And then we have like the last part, which is like 100 pages or something. It was really small, when he actually do his revenge and how he performed the revenge. And the ending is, okay, now I'm spoiling the ending, but it's kind of obvious. The ending is that he's like, oh, I don't feel better after doing this. I'm not happier after doing this. I spent 30 years doing this and I'm not happy. Why am I not happy? I ruined their lives. Why am I not happy? You know? So after half the book is humanizing the villain? Basically, yeah. I first read the author's name as Alexandre Dumas. Dumbass. I mean, it kinda is. If my teacher gave me a punishment memorizing a book of 1,000 pages for 3 months, I'm going to die, you're saying? Yeah, I get it. But that's why I gave it 3 stars though. It was an okay read because I liked parts of it. I can say I liked the first half the most. I liked when he was, just a youngling and, they are putting him to prison. And my favorite part of all of it is the prison part. I love his interaction with the old man, how he is missing his dad, and this old man, the scholar in the cell next to him, becomes his new dad. And he teaches him about everything like math and physics and philosophy and everything, and making him into like this scholar too. Because Dantes is like a farmer boy. He doesn't know anything. He's just like, all he knows is how to sail a boat, basically. He knows how to be a really good captain of a boat. That's all he knows. So I like that interaction between them, and I think that was the best part of it. I saw the movie after, and I can't say without a doubt the movie is better. The movie does it a lot better than book. Do I recommend people to read this? Yes and no. If you have a lot of time on your hands and you feel like dinner parties during Napoleon War is fun, then yes. Something that I didn't like is another thing is there's a lot of French words in this one. Maybe it's just my copy of it. Maybe not everyone has this, but my copy had, like, when they were speaking, they had a lot of French phrasings and French words in between the English, and I could understand it, but it threw off the reading. Like, I understand the French words and I know what they meant, but it kind of threw off the pacing of the reading. Same with the fact that there's a lot of characters in this book. A lot of characters. And the Count of Monte Cristo has a lot of alternative characters to himself because he likes dressing up as other people to like sneak around, and get information. So there's like a lot of names that you need to remember because they never introduce people. They never do any introductions. Like one chapter I was reading, and then after half the chapter, which is like 10 pages maybe, I'm suddenly like, okay, it's not about the Count. It's about this priest. Who the fuck is this priest? Because everyone is written in I format. I did this. I went here. I saw this. So it's hard to know who we're talking about because we're changing perspectives and who we are following. So it's like we have to use our big brains and like do some deductions on who we are following. 200 pages is enough for me. Yeah. The spy, seriously, yeah. Oh my god. So it was a little bit annoying. I had like a list next to me with all the names and who they were. It also, because this priest is the Count of Monte Cristo. The priest also, we didn't know it was the Count of Monte Cristo until 100 pages later, when we are in a scene where the priest is taking his robe off and they're like, oh my god, it's the Count. I just thought the priest was going to the Count to a dinner party, and then I'm like, oh, why is he going into the Count's chamber? And I'm like, oh, he's getting undressed. Oh, he is the Count. Okay. Which, like, fine, whatever. But it bothered me that I didn't know. Like 100 pages I'm reading of this priest, and I'm, trying to imagine who this priest is and what purpose he have and what he's doing there. And then 100 pages later, we're like, oh, it was the Count, but in disguise. Okay, that changes the entire story. If I would have known that, I wouldn't have put so much thought into this priest. You know, I don't know. I'm so frustrated with this book. Can you tell? Queen does the movie cover everything in the book. Imagine if they just gave. Yeah, that too. It doesn't cover everything, obviously. Like, the movie is roughly 2 hours long. You can't fit this many pages into 2 hours. I can say this: they have a lot of the prison life, and they have a lot of the revenge. And I think they did have the carnival, and they had one dinner party. They did not have the 600 dinner parties. So they took down the social life, which was the worst part in the book. So I'm not even mad. And I think that's why I like the movie more. Because they knew what was not worth having. Chimp in disguise. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Count of Monte Cristo. Very frustrating. I'm happy I read it. I'm happy I got through it, and I'm happy I can say I've read this many pages and this book. Will I read it again? No. Will I read something else from Alexandre Dumas? Yes. I want to read The Three Musketeers, which he also wrote. The Three Musketeers are 500, 600 pages, but there's like 5 books in the series. But I think it's not going to be as boring. I think that every book is more... because this was the Count of Monte Cristo, I think, was Alexandre Dumas' first book. The Three Musketeers, I've heard, is more action-filled or more adventure-filled than what this was. Because this is basically about a guy in his 50s sitting, plotting a revenge, and, you know, sitting in his castle going, ha, I will have a dinner party and I will ask them uncomfortable questions, you know? Yeah. It's basically every family gather ever. So I think I would like The Three Musketeers a lot more, but I was going to read The Three Musketeers in February, because I was like, okay, I will read The Count of Monte Cristo first and then The Three Musketeers right after, but I don't want to pick it up. I'm a little bit scared that once I start reading The Three Musketeers, I'm going to get the Monte Cristo feeling. So I'm going to let a few months pass and then pick the Three Musketeers up. So I will read some other classics in between. But I did read the Three Musketeers when I was younger. I think I was like 14, 15, but in Swedish. I read them in Swedish. And I do believe I did like them, but I don't remember, because I found really old versions of the Three Musketeers on like a flea sale, or like a second-hand store, or whatever you want to call it, and I read half the book, I remember. And I remember it being good, but you know, my memory can be very bad. My phone battery is dying, can't join too long. Aw, that's too bad. The fourth book that I read this last month was Wilder Girls. This is a teen book. This is like a young adult book. It's classified as horror and body horror. If you know what body horror is. Body horror is horror when strange things happens to your body. So if you have issues reading about horror, like body transformations in a weird, icky way, this is probably not it for you. It's written by Rory Power. I've never read anything from her before. It's 357 pages. I give it 4 stars. Like, if you guys die in a fire, this book could make me happy. It could lighten the mood of your death. That's my rating of it. I usually don't like young adult books, but I like this one. I read it in one evening. It's very easily read. Very easy going, very easy language, very easy plot. The plot twist wasn't really a big twist at all, in my experience. Maybe for people who are younger than me that haven't read as much as me, the plot will be like, oh my god, really? Hi Proxy, I hope I'm not too late. No, of course not. Sounds lewd. It's not lewd at all. I mean, it does have kissing in it, I guess. But it is about a boarding school for girls. And it is set in America. I think it's set on like, it's not Long Island, but it's like an island outside of New York, I think, if I don't remember wrongly here. But it's an island where only that you have is this boarding school. So it's a boarding school on an island. It's an all-girls school, so it's only girls in here. And we come to this school and we don't really know what's going on. But we soon learn that a disease have started to spread. The girls think the disease is everywhere, all of the world. But we soon find out that it's only the island that's infected. And it affects the girls in the way that their bodies are changing. Some girls loses an eye, some girls loses an arm, and then other things grow from it. The main character, as you can see in this cover, loses her eye, and out of her eye flowers are growing. She is sewing her eye shut, but sometimes the sewing goes up and the flowers start growing out of her eye sockets, and she has to cut them off and then re-sew her eyelid down. All girl boarding school on an island sounds like a vacation. Maybe. It's also this main character is also gay. I don't know if it's like when I read about this book, it was classified as LGBTQ. It turns out in like 70% of the book that she's gay, or maybe 60% of the book, but it turns out she's gay. That's it. She has a little crush on her friend, they kiss, and then they don't do anything more, and they don't really date or anything like that, because it's a lot of things going on the island. So it's like, oh, I like you, yeah, I like you too, kiss kiss, okay, that's it. So I'm not sure why they classify the book as LGBTQ, because I feel like if you're going to label something as LGBTQ, I feel like LGBTQ should have a big portion of the story. Like the LGBTQ thing has nothing to do with the story at all. It's just there, which is fine. I don't mind it. I mean, that was the reason I picked it up, because I wanted lesbian love. But it bothers me that that's why I picked it up and I didn't get that. But the book was good. I mean, I gave it 4 stars. People come to this island and give food. They leave food on like on the shore, and the girls have to like do with whatever they are given. All the animals on the island are also transformed into weird creatures, so every girl is taught to how to use a gun, and they go out. Oh, thank you. Thank you. 100% how the MC not gay. Thank you for the donation. Where were I? Oh yeah, all the animals are like monsters. It soon turns out that the only one is affected by this disease are the girls in the school, and it's not a disease, but it turns out it's an experiment. I'm not going to say much more because then I'm going to ruin the ending. But the reason why this book did not get a 5-star rating for me, it is the LGBTQ and gayness of it, because I expected more. I wanted more gay love, but I didn't get more. The other thing that really bothers me is the ending. The ending to me is not an ending. The ending felt to me like they should be 200 pages more. Like, okay. It just felt very abrupt and weird, and it wasn't an ending. I'm still to this day, I'm wondering what happened. And I thought maybe it's a sequel. Maybe they are writing book number 2. No. There's no book number 2. There's not going to be a book number 2. That was the ending, and it was weird. I'm guessing it's like an open ending. I guess I have to figure out myself what I want it to mean and what I want to happen after. But I just don't like it. Just nothing gets solved. Nothing, like, you know, you have this big anticlimax, you know, where they're finding out about the experiment and why they're doing the experiment, and then you're like, okay, what are you gonna do about it now? And then it's like, okay, the end. Oh, okay. So, you know, when I read it, I was like, is that it? Did I spend all my night reading this? And this is what we get? Because I knew this when I started the book. I wanted to see where it was going and what you're going to do about it in the end. Not just end. Yeah, I don't know. Queen, the girl grow flowers out of her eye, is the girl who was rock skin or something like that? No, I don't think so. No. They don't talk much about the people's deformities more than the MC and her 2 friends. They only talk about them. Bro, that wasn't even an ending. I know. It's so weird. I will never understand. But, you know, the more I talk about it, the more I want to change the rating to 3 stars. But after I finished it, I was so confused. I'm still confused. I still can't figure out what the purpose of it was. It's so weird. The next book I read after this, I was a bit confused and I was like, I need something good. So I decided to read Sleepy Hollow, or The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, by Washington Irving. Oh, no, I didn't press anything. What? Weird. A Sleepy Hollow is, if you don't know, is about a story about a young teacher who comes to this town of Sleepy Hollow. In this town, he finds that he starts teaching, and you know, he's a big scholar and stuff, and he falls in love with a beautiful girl. And the story that I thought it was, because I've heard this legend before I read the actual book, the story I heard is he meets this beautiful girl, the bully wants the girl, and this teacher, he wants the girl too, but the teacher is like, you know, a small little guy, so the bully dresses up as a pumpkin head riding. The fuck? Weird. I'm not pressing anything, so I don't know why it changes the slide. He's dressing up as like a pumpkin man and riding and like scares the teacher away. That's the story I've heard. When I read this, that's not really how it is. The teacher is actually really, really rapey. The teacher is all like, you know, I want this girl and she's beautiful and she should be mine because I have a big brain and everyone should love me, kinda. And the bully, in quotation mark, isn't a bully. He's just a guy who's been in love with this girl too, and he's been approaching this girl for like a couple of months now. And he doesn't think that the teacher, he's like, teacher, please, I've been going to this girl and, you know, courting her for a while now, so can you be a gentleman and step back? And the teacher is like, hell no, I'm the big brain here, she's going to pick me. So the guy tells him the story about this pumpkin head riding, you know, and killing people. Yeah. And then one night when the teacher is riding home, he meets this headless rider. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't feel like when I think it's because I saw like the Disney version of Sleepy Hollow, and I saw like another Sleepy Hollow movie, and I always be like, oh, that bully, he's so mean, and I feel sorry for the teacher, and he got like, you know, scared out of the town and stuff like that. But when I read the book, I was like, hell no, the teacher is the bad one. Fuck him. Let him, you know, get scared and never come back to Sleepy Hollow. Nobody needs him. He was not important to the town. Right, so in the book, the writer is actually saying, yeah, I mean, I think it's up to your imagination. They never say someone dressed up like the writer, and they don't say the writer exists or don't exist. Because they only have like a part of the guy telling the teacher about the legend, and then a couple of pages later, the teacher is riding home one evening and he sees this writer, if it's like his own imagination because he's scared, or if it's actually a writer, or if it's some of the guys in town dressing up just to fool with the teacher. I don't know. They never say. Because the last page is the teacher running away from town saying he will never come back. So I think it's up to us as a reader to decide what we think. Which is fine. I did like this one though. I gave it 4 stars. I don't know why I gave it 4 stars, because when I think about it, it shouldn't have more than 3 stars, I think. I liked it. I wasn't surprised by it. The only thing that surprised me was that the teacher is the bully and not the bully, if that makes sense. I was surprised to learn that I did not like the teacher. Because in all the movies and all the videos of Sleepy Hollow, the teacher is so sympathetic, because, you know, he's the main character and they have made him so nice and squirrely, and I don't know. But in the book, he's just an asshole, which is funny. He gets what he deserves, I guess, in the end. But it was a very quick read. I read it in like 2 hours, I think. Yeah. I don't have much to say about it, to be honest. Later on, I read The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. It's 314 pages. I love dystopians. I love books about the future and how it could be and how we are ruining the world. But I did not really like this one. Well, you gotta make the story different, I guess. But this, I've seen the show, and I kind of like the show. So I decided to read the book because I thought I could get more out of the book. You don't. To be fair, the book ends after 3 episodes in the show. So if you have seen the show, you have seen a lot more than there is to this book. The book is written in like a letter form. Like the main character is writing her testimony of what she has been through in a letter form that she is letting you read, because she's gone now, so you get to read this letter about her life and her experiences, both from before the world went to shit, but also after the world went to shit. So you get to read about her past and her growing up when the world was like it is today and how it is now. Yeah. It's the same with Don Quixote. In the books, he is not a nice person, but it's a lot of movies. He's either sympathetic or well-meaning. Yeah, I've heard that too. I've not read Don Quixote, to be honest, but it is on my reading list. But for you guys who don't know, The Handmaid's Tale is... the story is about like a nuclear thing spreading in the world. Not the world. It's spreading in one part of the USA, and that makes it so not all humans can have babies naturally anymore. There is a war, and the extreme Christians win the war, and then they start going after extreme Christian rules, and one of the things is that the few girls or women who can have babies are now like handmaidens who go around in different houses getting fucked by the husband, having a baby, moving along to the next house to have a baby with them, and so on and so on. And it's about this girl who is a handmaiden, and she gets to this house and she's supposed to have sex with the husband and bring a baby. If she does bring a baby to the world, she is safe from not needing to go to like the minings and needing to mine and stuff like other women and people have to do. If she brings a baby to the world, that means she's safe to live an okay life the rest of her life, so that means salvation for her. But the thing is, they only talk about women not being able to have babies because of the nuclear waste that's been spreading, but the men can't have babies either. But you know, in Christian belief, the man is the higher ranking of everything. A man can do everything, you know, so you can't say that a man cannot have a baby. So there's a lot of handmaidens put into a home to have a baby, but the man can't have a baby, but you can't say the man can't have a baby because he's a man. So obviously he can do everything, even if he can't. And then it's your fault for a woman who can't give him a baby. Yeah. So you get punished because he can't give babies. So there's a lot of like wives and handmaidens and doctors who try to impregnate these handmaidens with other sperm, but the actual husband's sperm. So there's like a big whole thing about that. But the story, I thought I was going to like it. But the thing that I don't like about this is like, I like the story, I like what it's based on, I like how Atwood is writing. Her writing style is mwah. Her book Alia's Grace is one of my favorite books of all times. Like, her writing style is me like. But there's one thing I don't like. The main character in this, she says at one point, I had a daughter before this happened. happened to the world, before the dystopian world happened. And you're like, wow, you must be pretty old, was my first thought then, like, you know. And she's like, she was 5 when she was taken away from me. And I was like, oh, she lost her baby when the baby was only 5. That's kind of sad. I wonder where her child is now and how old she is. And then she says, at this point, my baby should have been 7. And I'm like, hold up, what? And I started thinking, if the world was normal when her baby was 5, and today, when she is in this weird household having babies with husbands, or not having babies because he can't produce babies, it's supposed to be 7. That's 2 years. And the world, this dystopian world that only happened in one state of America, have changed so much in 2 years. The fuck? Why do people not just go away? Why do they not just go to the other side? They're like, oh, they took my baby away, or oh, they're hanging people in the Times Square, or oh, this. And she's always like, in her text, because it's written in a letter, like she's writing her you know, story in a letter to us. She's like explaining to us, like she's slut shaming the past when girls were wearing pants, and I'm like, that was 2 years ago. And she's like, I cannot understand how we were having pants and it feels like it was so long ago. And I'm like, it was 2 years ago. People were wearing pants and booty shorts 2 years ago. And now she's all like, oh, it's so weird. Like, I don't even remember that time. And I'm like, how can you? How can this happen? I understand if you like, you know, you brought into this and you're like the second or third generation of being under this oppressed feeling and stuff, but why is there not more revolution going on? It happened fucking 2 years ago. And everyone is like, yeah, we're pretty okay with this, you know, this is pretty normal. No. Huh? I just don't understand. And that is why it got three stars. Would probably have gotten 2 stars because but the Atwood writing style, I really like it, so it still got 3 stars. But for real though, like, you know, the sex scene, it's not even like, oh, here you have the husband go and have sex. No. She's just a womb, or, you know, so she's laying on the bed. The wife is like not sitting on her face, but she's like sitting, and then the handmaiden is having her head on the wife's lap. So, and then the husband is just doing the thing with the womb, like, you know, thrusting and stuff. But like all the connection is between the wife and the husband, because the handmaiden is just underneath to be like getting the sperm to impregnate and stuff. Why do we accept that after 2 years? I mean, fine if, you know, you're threatening with, you know, killing and stuff, but she's like, oh, I was married and I had a daughter, but now this is my life. And she's slut shaming people, she's not talking to people, and she's completely brainless, and I just don't understand. Like, okay, fine if she's like that, some people might be like that, but the rest of the world, why is not the other states in America helping? But why do they not just go to another state? Why do they not just run away over the border to another state? It's not even going to another country. It's just going from Texas to something else, you know? How hard can it be? Like, I don't understand. Like, this book is having me... What? And it was written in the 80s, I think. I mean, I can accept that everything like this can happen. But 2 years? Can everyone be that brain damaged and so brainwashed after 2 years? They even send these women to like a school to learn how to be a proper womb. Like, you know, you're not allowed to say this, you're not allowed to do that, you only have to wear this color, you can only do this and be this, and I just don't understand. What if the rest of the world is gone? Maybe. I mean, they don't talk about it, which is kind of interesting, because isn't The Handmaid's Tale on HBO, does it not have like 6 seasons? And the book ends after 3 episodes, or 4 episodes maybe. Like, I don't know. The idea is cool, but the time frame for me is putting me off a lot. I understand you can brainwash people, but can you really brainwash that many people that no revolution happens? That no people are fighting back? That everyone think this is okay? That she doesn't even remember how world used to look like, how her daily life before used to look like. She thinks that this is normal. I mean, I understand that after a while you think it's normal, but 2 years? I mean, she doesn't even... There's only like 1 paragraph where she is mourning her daughter and her husband, because she did have a husband. But she doesn't talk about her husband or her daughter more than that paragraph. It's odd. It's really odd to me. Questions with the cream. Yes! Hello you, how you doing? But yeah, I read that. I don't... I mean, I do recommend it. It's nice if you like dystopians. It makes you think. It does have some good points to it. Margaret Atwood's writing style is great. I love her writing style. Other than that, is it worth reading? There's better books out there. If you're bored, or if you truly love the show, read the book, I guess. It shouldn't be high on your reading list, in my opinion. Next book. This is a Swedish book, and it's not translated into English. It's by a Swedish author. I gave this 5 stars because it's really good. It's called Vi kommer med hjärta hem till dig, which translates into We come home with heart to you. And it's by Elliot Barron, and it's 174 pages. Elliot Barron worked in a nursing home with elderly, and he saw how Sweden handled the elderly and elderly homes, and he wanted to write a book about that. So this is like short stories. They are not longer than maybe a page or a paragraph or something, where he writes in a you form, like I came home to you and you did this, or I saw this in your house. So as a reader, you feel like he's coming home to you and he's talking to you. And it's different people that he's talking about, like one old man who misses his wife. There's one story about like a wife who doesn't remember anything. There's a story about one woman who doesn't want anyone to see her because she doesn't like how she looks like, and she doesn't want people to judge her. So before someone can get into her and, like, you know, taking care of her with like prepping dinner and stuff, because she can't do that by herself, she locked herself into the bedroom, and then she let the nursing people come inside and like clean and prep the food for her. And then when they leave, she goes out of her home or like the bedroom. And there's like a lot of stories like that, and it really touched my heart. It really did. It makes it like how important that work is for the elderly, but it also made me a little bit sad because most of the stories in this are just sad about people who are very sick or elderly, who can't walk or they can't talk or they can't remember anything, and their lives are they're just waiting for death. A lot of them even say that they are waiting for death. There's not a lot of uplifting stories in this one, and they are all taken from real experiences and real stuff that have happened to Elliot Barron. So it's a very good book. I would recommend it, and I would say I want everyone to read it, but considering it's in Swedish, I understand that you can't. but I really liked it. Yeah, I shouldn't talk more about it because I guess I can't recommend it to you guys. But I read it. Next book, I read another young adult book. I don't know why. I'm not even into young adult books, so here we are. My grandma can't walk and she only sings sometimes. I feel bad for her and I love her, but she's yeah, I understand. It's like when my grandfather died last year, it was the same when my grandma died. That's when you start thinking, like, I wonder how their life the last year were, because they were alone in their house, all alone. The only company they actually did get was when the nurse came home and they like made dinner for them because they couldn't walk by themselves, so they like had people come and take care of them. But that was like 2 times a day. Maybe someone came, made dinner for them, said goodbye and left. The rest of the day they used to sit either looking out of the window or watching TV, not doing much. The quality of your life is not that good when you can't do anything, you know? And that makes you kind of feeling guilty that you didn't visit them enough, or you didn't call them, or, you know. So take care of your elderly when you can, because you're going to feel bad afterwards if you don't. Anyway, this book is called All Your Twisted Secrets, and it's by Diana Urban. It's 400 pages. I gave it 2 stars. It's pretty shit, to say the least. But then again, I don't like young adult books. I am not sure why I picked it up. It was on my TBR list, to be read list. I added it in 2019, I think. I don't remember the reason why I added it, but apparently I did. And I thought to myself, hey, this has been on my list for a very long time. I shall read it. And I did, and I did not like it. There's a lot of high school drama in this one. It's about these people you see on the cover. 6 people. They all get like a letter saying, hey, thank you for applying for this scholarship. You have won because you're unique. We're going to have a scholarship dinner with the principal, and you can see us here at this time. All 6 people go, and then they realize that they are locked in, and on the table they can find a syringe with some green liquid, and they can find a letter that says, I will not let you out until you decide who you're going to kill. So pick one of these 6 people to kill, and if you do that with a syringe, with the poison, you all the other people you can leave, basically. And there's like, if you don't do it in 1 hour, I will blow this building up and everyone dies. Woo! Oh my god. Who can be behind it? Who did it? Oh my god. Queen doesn't like YA. Also Queen reads YA. Also Queen doesn't like it. Yeah. What can I say? But it's a very typical one. So it goes from present to past. So the present is what they're doing in like who they're deciding who should be the one to die, and the past is like if they pick one of these people, I don't even remember their names because I didn't actually care. If they pick one of these people, they're like, yeah, but why does she deserve to die? And then like it's like flashback time, and then you get to see why she deserves to die or he deserves to die. And every time when a flashback happened, I'm just sitting there like, okay, is that worth dying for? Did he really want to kill her for that? Like one of the guys, he's just like, he sells drugs to people at school, and they're like, oh, but he sells drugs. Kill him, pick him, And there's actually only one evil person there who bullied a girl to kill herself, and then she bullies the rest of the school, and she just doesn't stop bullying. Like, I can see why she deserves to die, but she's probably the only one who did, I feel, should have died. Or something like that. And so it bothered me that it said all your twisted secrets, and I'm like, yeah, but it's not really secrets. Like the girl who bullies, like she's in like drama. She's like a drama queen. No, but she wants to be an actress, of course. So she's like a theater kid and like in drama class, and then this musical geek nerd says, hey, I really want to do like a musical, and maybe I can do the music for your drama theater for the winter, and then I can use that for my college application, because I want to get into Princeton or whatever it was, I don't remember. And then the drama girl is like, oh yeah, let's just do it. And then the music girl makes the track music, and then she gets to the people, and then they listen to it, and then the drama girl goes to the music girl, and she's like, yeah, they loved it, but we want to make it into like a more pop musical, so maybe you can write new songs, like so we can sing. And it turns out that the drama girl is lying. Everyone loved the music, but the drama girl wants to show off her singing skills, and she wants to show off she's a pop girl and can be an actress. So she's lying about everything, and the music girl is like, oh no, now I have to write a pop music number for when Julia, because they're doing Romeo and Julia, when Julia is dying, how do you do a catchy pop song for people dying? Yeah, and then this one guy is like, are you sure they actually wanted to have a pop musical? And she's like, yeah, that's what this drama girl said. And the guy is like, and you believe her? And she's like, yeah, why would she lie? And I'm like, because she bullies people? And it's kind of obvious, isn't it? Like the character in this book, everyone is so fucking brain dead, and I'm like, just kill all of them. Like you would make a better world if all of them just died. Like none of them deserves to live. Damn, the girl didn't remember the college she wanted to go to. It's probably me who doesn't remember. I remember someone wanted to go to Princeton and she was super stressed about it. It was probably the drama girl. I don't remember. I think it was the drama girl. She's like, oh, I need to go to Princeton, and she starts eating Adderall or something because she needs speed to do all her college applications. I don't know. If they have a brain conflict, won't happen. Oh yeah, that's true. But everyone was brain dead. Legitimate brain dead. And then when it came to who did it, I was like, huh? What? Because you know they're talking so much about who did it, and then after like 400 pages and they reveal who did it, I'm like, okay. I don't know, because they're going through like everyone in school. They legit think everyone in school is a suspect, and they like, oh no, it can't be her, or yeah, it can't be him. You know, after a while, you don't care, because they've been discussing so many people who it can be that when you actually know who it is, you just don't care anymore. You're like, oh, okay. And it wasn't even a big surprise. It all made sense. Like, I could have said it after like 3 pages when the music girl is like, oh, my big sister killed herself because of bullying, but you know, we're better off now. I'm like, oh yeah, why is that important to tell me? Obviously it has something to do with the ending. And hell yeah, it did. Anyway. I gave it 2 stars. I can understand why teens like this. It's like high school drama. It's like, oh my god, let's kill him because he kissed a girl after we broke up. How can you kiss a girl after 1 day of breaking up? Murder that motherfucker. You know, yeah, that kind of stuff. If you're into that, read it. Otherwise, skip it. It's not worth your time. After that, I read another manga. And this is volume 3 in the manga. No, don't go back. Penis. And this manga is written by Kaito Gaku, and it's 192 pages. This one I gave 3 stars. Volume 1 and 2 I gave 4 stars, I think. So this one went down a little bit for me. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just that the conflict in this specific volume didn't speak to me like the others did. Not that they spoke to me either, because you know, I can't really relate to the issues that they're having in the book, but I could relate less to the people in this book, so to speak. I don't know if you guys have seen this manga, but it's Boys Runs the Riot is about these people on the front cover here. They want to start a clothing brand. The guy in the back, he's been redoing his high school over and over. People are talking a lot about him, that he's like a gangster and stuff like that, and that's why he can't finish school. He himself says that's not it. He just doesn't understand school, and he just wants to open his own clothing brand because there's something he's passionate about. It's clothing, and he wants to start his own business. Then you have the other person on the front. It is actually born a she, but she, in quotation marks, identifies as a he and is technically transgender. But it's hard to be transgender when you're in high school, because you still need to wear, you know, your school uniform and act like a girl, because you're a girl on paper, and you can't really trans into something during your school time. And it's hard to telling people in school, it's hard to telling her parents, and in Japan it's obviously a little bit harder because she or he is the only child. But something that speaks to him is clothing, because clothing for him makes you who you are, and clothing is the only freeing for him, because when he gets home he can put on whatever clothes he wants, and he can finally be the boy that he feels like he is on the inside. So when these two meets in the first volume, they decide to, hell yeah, let's start a clothing brand. And then this trans is like, oh, but you know, I'm not actually a girl, I'm a guy. And this gangster guy is like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, you are who you are, I accept you. And they become best friendos. And they start like a clothing brand. And this trans is really, really good at art. And they like graffiti art. So they like, let's do a clothing brand around that. So it's pretty cool. And I think the author, Kaitogaku, is a transgender? I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. But I think so. Yeah. So the story is about these two trying to start a clothing brand, and acceptance, LGBTQ. Yeah. There's a lot going on. I've read three books so far. I'm waiting for number 4 to be translated. It haven't yet, what I've seen. But the third volume didn't speak so much to me. But in the third volume, we get someone who is they meet a YouTuber who turns out to be gender fluid. And she made a YouTube based on the fact that he was transgender, but then he's really scared to come out as gender fluid because that's what he feels more comfortable with. So these clothing guys are helping the gender fluid person to get out to the world that is gender fluid and not transgender. So there's a lot of LGBTQ stuff in this book, so to speak. Or cross-dressing? There's one transgender person in here. And there's one trans, there's one gay, I think. They have not come out as gay, but I'm pretty sure they're gay. And then we have one gender fluid person. And there's a lot about how to be accepted, not be accepted, who to speak with, who not to speak with, and stuff like that. But there's also a lot about clothing. So if you're into clothing and fashion, this book is really good as well. It talks a lot about how to start your own brand and what's important. And so it does have a lot of themes to it, I think. But it's pretty cool. But the third book was a little bit too chaotic for me. It got a little bit too much for me, because now in the third book it's less about the clothing brand and more about, oh okay, we need to get this person who has this LGBTQ thing, and we need to have everyone, and everyone should be represented, which is great. It's great, don't get me wrong. It's just like, it feels very preachy in this book. It like, the story doesn't flow like it did in volume 1 and 2. In the third book, I just feel like, oh, now we need to have these people to have equality and more diversity, and we introduce this character and this character and this character, and I'm like, okay. Can we get back to the main point that these two are making a clothing brand? So it's cool. I'm hoping more for volume 4. But we will see. We will see where the story ends. I read another manga. This is like 15 pages long. It's very, very short. I think it's like, it started as a webtoon or like a webcomic. I felt very, after reading the young adult books, I felt like, oh, I don't know what to read. I don't know what I'm in the mood for. And then I said, maybe I should read more manga. That's where I read The Boys Run Riot number 3. And I decided I wanted to read something gory. And I searched for it, and this is what came up. I didn't know it was 15 pages, so when it was done, I was like, oh, that's it. But Oh my, for people who are into clothing, I prefer wearing clothes instead of walking naked. So book is for me. Exactly. The title of this is Smile, It's Just a Dream. It's by Tori Mura and it's like 15 pages maybe. It's very, very short. I gave it 4 stars because I felt like the ending ruined it for me. There's a lot of things like that. The ending can ruin so much what you think about the story. If you take away like 2 pages, the story would have been a 5 star, but without doubt. But it's about a girl who's gay. She's lesbian and she's in love with her coworker. But the thing is that when she goes to bed and she dreams of herself killing and murdering her coworker. It soon turns out, and we realizes that her coworker has a boyfriend, and the main character is very jealous, and that's probably why she's killing her coworker that she's in love with over and over again in her dreams. But she can't really sleep because of this, because to her it's nightmares because she doesn't want to kill the person she's in love with. It's hard to say what I think of it if I don't say the ending. But let's just say it's just a dream. No, but the coworker gets over to her place and she's like, "Hey, I want to teach myself how to cook better. Can I do it at your place and you taste it?" And she's like, "Yeah." But then when she's there and she's cooking and they're eating, she's bragging about her boyfriend, and this girl who's in love with the girl, she's like, "Hell no, don't come to my house and speak about your darn boyfriend." And she's like, "Stab stab." And the stuff she's been dreaming of happens, but then she wakes up and it was a dream. I didn't like that. I liked it more when she stabbed and it happened, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. I like the stab and I like the cut head off and then walk around with the head and talking to the head part. Like, you know, everything is fine. Like her coworker is still alive. But I don't know. I wanted more. Like, bleh. Secretly I it. Don't know. Because it's so short, we don't get much background story, so it's hard to know. But it just blew me off when we came to the ending, and the ending was like, you know, because she stabbed and then it started smelling weird because, you know, she stab after a couple of days, you know, corpses smell. The police came and they were like, "Police, open up," you know, on her door. And then she wakes up in the hospital and her coworker that she just murdered sits next to her and she's like, "Oh, you passed out at work. I guess you haven't been eating and sleeping well. You know, how are you feeling?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm so happy you're alive." And she's hugging her and that's it. And I'm like, okay. I don't know. I thought it would have been much better if it didn't end like that. If it did end with like the police storming in and seeing her sitting there with the head cut off, hugging it, like, you know, it would have been a lot better. I don't know. The Silence of the Bones by June Hur is a Korean historical drama. It's set in the 1800s in Korea. I have so much to say about this, yet my head is just blank. What? Why is it so blank? But June Hur, I picked this up because it was under like mystery, thriller, horror, historical thing, and I was like, ooh. And the Silence of the Bones sounded very chilling and cool, and I was like, I need to get into this. But then I just felt like it wasn't what I wanted, and it wasn't what I expected it to be about. But that doesn't mean I didn't like it, because I obviously gave it 4 stars because it's a great book. But in my opinion, I was very disappointed. I think that's the word. I was disappointed when I started reading it, and I realized it's not what I thought I was going to read. But it's about this 16-year-old. It's also a young adult, by the way, but a Korean young adult. It's about a 16-year-old who is an orphan, and she is helping a police officer with a crime that happened. Like I don't. It's hard to say, but it's like a woman dies, some weird stuff happens, and there's like this crime. And in Korea, the 1800s, even if you're a police officer, you can't go into specific places where women are. So sometimes they need help from a girl to get into those places and interview certain people. So she is there to help them with that. And she's also very good at asking the right questions, and she's very like interested in stuff. And so she gets a lot of information that many don't get, and she's helping the police officer a lot. But then it soon turns out that maybe the police officer that she's helping with the case, maybe he's the one who's behind everything, and everyone in Korea that she's speaking with are like, the fuck? They're like speaking to her like, oh, maybe you need to pick a side, and maybe you shouldn't pick his side, maybe you should pick our side. And suddenly she's like in between, like who should she trust and not trust, and who should she help and not help. But I don't know. I will. First off, I was very disappointed that it was more crime and mystery than horror, because someone told me it was a horror book, and I'm very disappointed in that book for saying so, because it's not a horror book. It does have tension and mystery into it, but it also have a lot of like historical things written into it. I think the tension and the mystery gets more to the ending, when everything is like getting revealed. Like the first part of the book, I feel like is more historical and speaking about how Korea is and how it is structured in that time, how things work. It has really good descriptions on how like the houses looks like, how the social encounters work and stuff like that. The mystery is more like a side thing in the beginning. It gets more tension in the end of it. I did love the characters. The character was very like alive and very well described. It has great dialogue, like believable dialogue, not like too smart and not too dumb. I feel like the character had good character buildings, like they learned something during the book, which is great to see. But yeah, I don't know what to say, to be honest. It's just very interesting. It's such a weird book. Like, I loved it, and I like it when I think about it, but it's hard to explain stuff about it. Because I like it, but I don't have much thoughts on it. It's just good. Can't you say that? It's just good. Just read it. If you're into like Korean, like Korean culture and stuff in the 1800s, it's great for that. Like the police officer is obviously like a samurai officer, which is kind of cool. It has like this Korean-ish samurai look to him, which is cool. Riding around on his horse and stuff. But yeah, great book, great book. Yeah. Apparently there's going to be more books. This is like the first book in like a series. So I'm looking forward to reading more from her. There are more books out from her, but I'm not going to pick them up right away. I have a lot of other books to read right now, but I'm going to keep my eyes on Junho. Like, if you like historical fiction, I think she's great. You can tell that she did great research when she wrote this book, because everything feels accurate. I can't say I'm an expert at Korean culture 1800s, but everything feels very accurate to the little knowledge I already do have. And she herself is Korean, and she said that this is her love letter to Korean and Korean history, because she wanted more fictional books about it, and she felt like there was not enough yet. Great book. Next book is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I read this because of Gina. I didn't, after reading this, I was like, oh, I don't know what to read anymore. And Gina told me, read my book. I've been telling you for 3 years that you should read it. Read it. And I was like, ugh, do I have to? No. Because again, it's a young adult book and it's a fantasy. 2 of the things I fucking hate. But I did pick it up because I'm a nice friend like that. And it was okay. It was better than I expected it to be. I did start. I didn't have the book, and I went to the library where I live, and they did have the book according to the website. But when I got there, it's not the library I work at, it's another library, but in my city. But when I went there, I couldn't find it on the shelf. So I was like, oh, someone had put it somewhere else. So I went around, like the librarian I am, and I looked at all the places where it could have ended up. Like, you know, oh, it wasn't in the young adult section. Maybe someone put it in like the adult section. No, okay, it wasn't there. Maybe someone accidentally put it in the Swedish young adult section because they think it's Swedish, but with an English title. I don't know. Went there, it wasn't there. I got confused, and I thought to myself, maybe they have put it aside. You know, because maybe someone has been reserving it, and someone called and they put it to the side, but it says it's in, but they have it like for someone else to pick it up. So I went to the register, or like the information desk, and I did not recognize the person working, because I know everyone who works there, but I didn't recognize the person working because it was like everyone was sick. So this was like a library student who worked, and I was like, okay, whatever, I will ask him anyway. I asked him the question, and like, you know, I was like, oh, I saw this should be on, you know, here, it says so online, but I can't find it. Do you have it somewhere else? And he's like, yeah, it was kind of hard finding in a library when you've never been that much. And I was like, the fuck? Who the fuck says that? Like, why? Like, one, I fucking work as a librarian. I'm in libraries every day. 2, I've been to the library. 3, I'm educated into finding stuff. I got so mad. Anyway, he was like, so he took me to the young adult English section, and he's looking, and you know, I'm standing behind him with a big smug face, and I'm like, yeah, fucking look at the shelf. Yeah, see if I maybe could find it, you know. But some part of me was a little bit scared, because I was like, maybe it's standing here somewhere, and you know, I just couldn't find it. But then he turns around to me, he's like, oh yeah, it's actually not here. And I was like, well, duh. And he's like, oh, okay, I will put it as disappeared, basically. And I was like, okay, can you like reserve it from another library? And he's like, oh yeah, of course. And we went to the information desk, and he's like, oh, that's the only library in the city that has it. I was like, okay, well, thank you. And he's like, do you want me to put you on the reservation list if we find it? And I was like, yeah, do that. I could have done it myself, but I was like, do it, whatever. He's like, okay. So then he reserved it, and then he like looked at my this is the fun part. And he looked at my profile on my library card, and he looked up at me, and he was like, you're a librarian. I was like, yeah. Because we have special cards, so we doesn't get any late fees on librarian books. And he was like, are you a librarian? I was like, yeah. And he just told me that it's hard for people who never are in the library to find books, and now he knows I work at the library. The pain of being you. Why do people assume things? Does it really do I look like someone who doesn't go to the library? What kind of weird assumption was that? I will never understand that guy. Never understand. Anyway, I went home. I was pissed off. I decided I will get the book as an audiobook. Started listening to the audiobook, and I was confused as fuck. If you want to read this book, never get the audiobook. It's shit. And it's not shit because of the person who reads it. The person who reads it well. And it's not shit because the story is shit. No, it's shit because in this book you follow 3 girls in 3 different perspectives, and they don't make it clear when they're changing perspective. And every perspective is written in I form. So when I listened to this book, it was like, one time we were like here, and then suddenly they're speaking of something else, and I'm like, how did we end up here? Like, there's not even a pause in between the different perspectives. I was so confused. I was like, is this how the book is done? So I looked at the audiobook, and everyone is giving like 1 stars, and they're like, I'm so confused, I don't understand what's happening. And I was like, same. But the next day, the people at the library, they contacted me, and they actually found the book. Someone had it in their office. Don't ask me. So I went to pick it up, and I read the book. Much easier, because apparently there's like a spinning wheel between the paragraphs of the different perspectives, which made it a lot easier. Gina told me, if you listen carefully, yeah, she sounds like that. If you listen carefully, you can tell that the different girls have different ways of describing things because they are of different levels in life. Like one is like, higher rank, and one is like just a sale like farmer collector person, and one is like, a noble. So you can tell in their way of describing and their way of speaking that they are different people. And I'm like, yeah, but if you don't know, you don't know. Like, ugh, nasty. Libraries where you save money from buying books, yes. Pains of a librarian. Clearly your mohawk isn't very librarian. Oh my god, no, my mohawk. But it's so standard. Everyone should have a mohawk. But yeah, the book is pretty good though. Apparently it's about Jews. I didn't really get that, but I guess it's like, the Jews are good with lending money and being money sharks. To be fair, if that's the reason, that's pretty racist. I mean, that's how the Second World War started. Am I right? Or am I right? Anyway, the book is about a girl who she lends money to people, and then she goes and collects the money back with interest, and it's said that she can make anything into gold. So this ice prince or something comes, and he's like, we love gold, make our silver into gold. And then she is like going to like a jewelry person, and she's like, make this into like a jewelry and give me gold for it. And so she's kinda making their silver into gold, I guess. The prince is very pleased, and he's like, you will be my bride now. I shall take you, and we should marry, and you should sit in a room and make everything into gold. You're my money pig now. And she's like, no. And he's like, yeah, you don't have a choice. And then he gets her, and he like drives away with her. And there's like another girl who is like married to a man. Turns out that he has a fire demon inside of him. And this girl that he marries is apparently like half breed of that prince thing, whatever he is, like an elf or something. She's like a half breed of that, and the fire demon wants to eat her, like in a non-sexual way, like, you know, cannibalism way. And she's like, no, please, no, sir. And then she finds out that she can go through a mirror, I guess. Where she meets this girl, I think her name was Miriam, I don't remember. And they plan to make their two husbands meet, and, you know, hoping that one will kill the other. Kinda. I don't know. It's fantasy. It's kind of cool. It does have really good storytelling. I do like Naomi Novak. She writes really good. She writes really good character descriptions. Her normal descriptions are really good. But the story to me didn't speak to me that well. I wasn't intrigued. And when we follow these three people, the only one that interested me was Miriam, the girl on the cover, because I liked the prince. I thought the prince was like cool. I was like, ooh, ice prince, marry me instead, you know. I was super into him. So the only stories I liked was hers, because I wanted to know more about him. But I didn't really get much of him. And then I hated the ending. The ending came so like sudden, like, oh, that's it. And then they had like a small prologue where they summarized like 15 years into a week. Like, what a normal person do in like 5 years or something, the characters did in like less than a week. I don't know. It's hard to explain if you haven't read it, and I'm not going to spoil this book, because I think this is a book I think many of you guys will actually enjoy reading. So read it. It's not my cup of tea, but I think it could be your cup of tea. I think. When I think about it, when you said Yabe, I was thinking, I think the Snow Prince, is like 1,000 years old or something, or at least a couple hundred years old, and I think Miriam is 16. It's kind of weird that they're getting buried and stuff. Anyway, I thought it was an okay book. I think if we would have taken away the weird ending that I didn't like, I think I would have given it 4 stars. But when it comes to the audiobook, I'm giving it 1 star. So don't listen to the audiobook. And that has nothing to do with the actual book. It just has to do with the way they're not reading it, but the way it's structured. Because it's unreadable or unlistenable. You can't listen to it properly. because you will not understand what you're listening to. Next book. Have you read Flowers of Evil? Of course I have. Yes. It's one of my favorite mangas. Confessions by Kanai Minato. We actually saw this movie last week, I think, on movie night. This is one of my favorite movies of all times. I actually saw the movie and then I realized it's based off a book, and then I read the book. I saw the movie like 10 years ago for the first time. So it's been a while until I actually read the book. I've had the book for the longest time. I just never picked it up because I know of the story, and sometimes I just don't want to read something I already know what's going to happen. But I felt like I need to read it because it's been standing on my shelf for way too long. And the book is good. But I think the movie is better. So if you like the story of this, when I'm telling you like the summary of it, maybe watch the movie instead. I know it's very controversial to say, but I think the movie is really good. But the story is about a teacher. She finds out that her 5-year-old daughter has died in school. She was at a meeting and she told her child to wait in the nurse office. But when she gets there after the meeting, her kid is not in the office, and she finds her in the school pool, and she had drowned. The book starts off, it has 5 confessions in it, and it starts with the teacher confession when she's telling her children that in the class that this was not an accident, this was actually a planned murder. There's 2 people in class who did murder her daughter. The first one wanted to murder the daughter for fame, so that his mom that left him would notice him. The other one didn't know that the first one wanted to murder. He just thought they were going to do like a prank. But then after, the first guy is like, you're pathetic and blah blah blah, we were never friends, I just used you to murder this girl and blah blah blah. The second guy gets so mad that he's ruining the murder, so to speak, because the first guy, he tries to murder the daughter by giving her electrical shock, but the electrical shock was not enough to stop the girl's heart. So the second guy, he takes the girl and he throws her into the pool to drown her, because he wants to show the first guy that I'm not pathetic and I could do something that you couldn't do, basically. So it starts off with the teacher telling them that she knows all this. She knows. And she just had everyone in class drinking a package of milk. And then she tells them in the end that her husband actually has HIV and AIDS. And she took his blood and she put it into the milk cart of student A and student B, the people who murdered her daughter. And she says, now you have a couple of years with HIV and probably will get AIDS, and then you have a couple of years that you can think about what you actually have done. Because in Japan and probably many other places, if you go in when you're like 14 or 13, you can't be, you can't like go to jail or get any punishment for stuff you do, even if you murder someone, because you're too young to get that punishment. So she takes her revenge in her own way. And then we have different confessions in both the books, and both the book and the movie, where you get like everyone's story. you get like everyone's side to the story, which is really interesting. Really interesting. Beautiful book. It's a great book. It's kind of dark. Yeah, dark lol. Yeah, it's very dark. It's yeah. If you're into revenge stories, this is pretty good. My favorite story is when they're speaking about student B, the one who drowned the kid, because it's not written from his perspective. It's written from his mom's perspective, because after getting, you know, the AIDS infected in him, he decides to not go to school and he stays home, and he gets like a neat freak because he doesn't want to infect the rest of the family, but he doesn't tell the rest of the family that he got AIDS. So he starts cleaning everything and so on, and you see all of this from the perspective of his mom, who's a stay-at-home mom, and she doesn't like understand what's going on with him or why he's doing this, or why he suddenly freaks out and starts screaming, or why he's hitting her and stuff like that. But yeah, the first murder of the daughter is not the only person who dies in this book or movie. If you would rather see the movie, people die. A lot of people die. And I like that no people are good in this book. Everyone has their own sorrow, everyone has their own reason to doing what they're doing, and they're portraying evil in a very good way, I think. But it's a very easy read. It's very easy read. Yes. She has written more books. I do have one more book called Penance, which is made into a Japanese TV series in 3 episodes, I think. And Penance is about a mom whose daughter dies, but 3 of her friends who was with the daughter did not die, and the mom is blaming them for not saving her daughter, and she thinks they are the reason for it, and she takes revenge on them too. So I feel like Kanae Minato's books are they're based on revenge, but they are also based very much on motherhood and how you feel when you lose your child, especially if it's like your only child and you build your entire world as a stay-at-home mom around this child, and then it's taken from you. It's like someone is taking your entire purpose in life and everything. But it's very good. It's very good. I do recommend the books. I don't think there is audiobooks of this, but not in every country available. I think it's only in certain countries that you can find the audiobooks. Not sure. If you're rather into listening than reading. This book I don't remember I read. When I went through the list of the books that I've read, I was like, did I read this? But yes, I did. But I don't remember much of it. I saw this book. Oh no, I remember now, I think. I saw this book in the library where I work at, and I thought to myself, I don't read much books about Africa or African cultures. So I picked this book and I was like, I want to read more African literature, and this is what I picked. It's The Mournable Body by Tsitsi Dangerabga, I think. And it turns out that this is the 3rd book in a series, and it's like the end of a series, and they do say that you don't have to read them in order to understand them. But I kind of feel like you had to, because I was very confused. What I do remember of this book is that it's about this girl in Africa who has a really nice education. But even if she has a really nice education, the white people come to her country and they take all the jobs. Even if they have like the same education, people pick the white people to do the job over her. And even when she did get a job, it ended up with the white people stealing her ideas because she's an ad person. She does like ads and promotions and things like that. So when she come up with like an idea that she was going to pitch, someone always stole it, or they still gave the credits to a white person. So after a while she like burned herself out, and she ended up like in a psychiatric ward where she can't deal with life anymore, and she gets very depressed. There's a lot about I think it was based in Zimbabwe, and there's a lot about both religion but also cultures that I have no idea about. So to me it was kind of hard reading this book because I couldn't get into the culture, because there's no explanation to why things are like they are. They are written like they are obvious things, but to me, as a white person from Sweden who doesn't know anything about this culture, to me it's not obvious. And it gave me more questions than answers, if that makes sense. I think if you read the first two books, you would understand the history of the country more, because this apparently is a historical series where you follow Zimbabwe but through the sight of different women. But I think that if I would have read the first two, I would have understand why Zimbabwe looked like it looked in the third book. Or maybe I just needed to do more research to understand how it looked. I'm not sure. It's a good book. I gave it 3 stars because it was okay. I'm getting good recommendations. Oh, that's good. But yeah, I might pick up the first and the second book, but this is the only book that's translated into Swedish, and I read it in Swedish. So the first 2 are not translated, which is a bit odd that you translate book 3 but not 1 and 2. But I also heard that this book won a couple of prizes, so maybe that's why they translated it, because it got so known because of the prizes. Yeah, I'm not sure. Bit weird. Then I thought I wanted to read a feel-good book, and I picked this up. It's called Cat on the Edge by Shirley Rosmo Murphy. It's 288 pages. I read it in 2 days. It's an okay book. I gave it 3 stars. It's more good than bad, but it's very average to me. I can't say I was mind blown or excited or like, oh, I wish I can go home so I can pick this book up. But Polly, she was in chat in the beginning, and she's also a VTuber who loves reading. She showed me one of these cat books. She has, I think there was like 28 in the series, and I think she had like number 25 or something. I will look it up. Let's see. Okay, 22 there is, and she had like number 19 or something. I don't really remember. And she was like, "Look, it's a cat who is a detective." And I was like, "What?" And as a cat lover, I had to pick it up to read because it sounded dumb. And look at that face of the cat. He looks dumb. But it's about a cat called Joe Gray. One day, Joe Gray, the cat, realizes that he can read and he can speak in human language. He doesn't know why. What I can see in the reviews, you will get more science fiction and more into why this happens to Joe Gray in like book 10. But I'm not going to read 10 books to see why that is. But just suddenly Joe, he realized that he can speak and he can read and he can have more intricate thoughts and thought processes. And first he doesn't know what to do, so he's just strutting what he can do in front of the other cats, and the other cats are kind of like scared of him. And then he realized that maybe it's not so good to do, so he stops doing it. But then he see like then he see a crime happening, and he realized that he have to fix the crime, or like help with the crime, because the officers don't know how to do it in the best way. Yeah, I feel like it could have all just been fine if he would have called the cops and been like, hey, I want to be a secret, but I saw this happening, and this is the culprit. The end. And then he could have hung up the phone. Instead, he calls his owner and he's like, hey, I'm your cat. And the owner is like, the fuck kind of joke is this? And he's like, no, I'm actually your cat. But I saw some weird stuff going on and people are following me now because, again, why would a criminal follow a cat? It's not like the cat is going to rat him out. Anyway, he's like, oh, there's some criminals, following me, and is going stuff happening. So I love you, but I will be back in a couple of days when I figure this thing out. And then we also have a girl, a human girl, or a woman. She's a woman, I guess. She's like 30 something. If she say a specific rhyme, she turns into a cat. Yeah. So we have a human woman who can be a cat, and we have a cat who suddenly can speak like a human. Something that bothered a lot of people is that just because you suddenly can read doesn't mean you know how to read, because you need education to know how to read. And even if you know how to read, that doesn't mean you have the ability to do cool deductions, theories like Sherlock Holmes. And the Joe cat is also doing a lot of like references into philosophy and different literatures, and that pissed some people off because they were like, he had never read these works, or he can't know all these philosophical things just by one day waking up and learning how to read. And apparently that pissed people off because it's not realistic. And I'm like, yeah, but the fact that a cat can suddenly speak in human language is not really realistic to begin with. I mean, it's even classified as a fantasy science fiction book. It's not supposed to be realistic. I just don't understand those reviews, to be honest. Another reviewer said that they thought it was too Jesus Christ religious, because there's one scene when the Joe cat is looking at a flower, and there's a caterpillar going on the flower, and the cat is thinking to himself, wow, I didn't know the world was so complex before. And because of that sentence, this book is apparently religious, and it has to do with Jesus Christ and the creation of human life and the creation at all. And she hated the book. I don't understand. Like, the only thing that bothered me, if I have to be bothered about something about that sentence, is I don't think a cat would think, this earth is pretty complex with all its life and stuff. No, a cat would be like, yeah, I'm God. Yeah, you caterpillar, you are under my control now, or you belong to me, flower, kinda. I don't know, it's kind of funny. It's funny to read reviews of books, because some people have some weird, thoughts about stuff. But yeah, the cats in this book also think they're equal to humans instead of being better than humans. Also a little bit unrealistic if you ask me, but they're hating on the cats. Yeah. Something in this book though is because the criminals, it turns out that one of the criminals are the husband of the girl who can turn herself into a cat, and he been suspecting that she's different. I'm doing quotation marks here because it's kind of odd. He thinks when the cats are looking at him, he feels like, my wife knows something and they will tell my wife because my wife is very cat-like. Okay. So there's a lot of not cat torture, but there's some scenes in this book where the criminals are hurting the cats, like kicking the cats and punching the cats and leaving them to die, kinda brutally stuff. So if that's hard for you to read, I would not read this. The rest of the book is very like feel good-ish. It's easy to read. It's an easy plot. It's nothing big, nothing like, oh my god, the crimes are very small too. It's like not like, big cool stuff like Sherlock Holmes is doing. It's more like, ooh, I wonder who stole this stuff, and then there's like a small wallet that's been stolen or something. I only read one of them. I am really like, what? They made 22 of these books. Were they really that famous or that popular for them to make 22 books? Because it's not that good. I mean, it's okay. I understand it. It was like a nice, chillaxing kind of read. But I'm still very like, what? People bought them so much that they had to buy or write 22 books. Insane. Insane. The last book that I read is The 100 Years of Lenny and Margot. Yeah, this is a 5-star. If it starts, a fire here, I would get these books before I get Val. Val can die in the fire. Because this book is important. I borrowed this book at my own library. I feel like I have to buy it because I really want it in my bookshelf. I started it the last day of January and I finished it right before midnight. No, not really right before. 10 o'clock maybe in the evening. Hiccup. And it's about two friends who meet each other in like an art therapy group in a hospital. The art therapy group is actually for people that is 70 years and above, but that's where we meet Lenny, she's 17. She has a lot of skin on her nose and she believes that she can be everywhere. And no one tells her that she can't do stuff because she's dying and she has a dying disease. We never get to learn what it is and what she's dying of. We just know that she's 17, she's soon dying. And she meets Margot, who's 82, and they become best friends. So they become best friends and at this hospital, and they decide that together we are basically 100 years old, because Margot is going to be 83 that year, and 83 plus 17 is 100 if I'm correct. So they decide that they want to do like an art expedition, that like they want to make 100 paintings, one of every year of their life. So Margot is making 83 pictures and Lenny is making 17 pictures, to document their lives and their friendship that they're starting to bloom. And after making their own paintings, they're showing it to each other and they're talking about the story behind the paintings. Margaret is really, really good at painting. And Lenny is not so good at painting, but she's really good at storytelling. So she starts making like not poetry, but she writes a few pages for every story of hers. Damn, I really need to start reading books. Do it. But this is very beautiful. They both are dying because they are in the hospital, and they are in the hospital on like the bad ward where like, I mean, Lenny has like a disease and she will die in less than a year. They have told her. Margaret is like 82, 83 and very old and can't do much, and she's on the verge of dying too. We know for a fact, even in the beginning of the book, that they are going to die. The book is not about their death or their fear of dying or what is going to happen in the end when they do die. The book is more about the friendship they are making with each other, but also their stories. Like we get to follow them through all of the years of their lives. We get to know Lenny and Margaret when they were kids, when they were teenagers, when Margaret got married, when she had a baby, when she lost the baby, then she realized that she might be lesbian, but then the girl she was in love with moves, and then she gets married to someone else. There's like a lot of things going on in this book, and it's really beautiful. And with Lenny, we get to know like her relationship with her parents, why nobody comes and visits her, why she's there all by herself. We also learn that she's Swedish. Fun fact, this book is written by a British person, but Lenny, one of the main characters, are from Sweden. Some of the description of Sweden I can tell are I'm not going to, I know the city where Lenny is from because I live close to it, and my mom worked there, so I know of the city, and it's described kind of funny, and I don't know if it's because the author haven't been there, or maybe she's been there, but she just have a different view of it because she has a different story of her own. I don't know. But the author said that this book took her 16 or 17 years to write, and I understand that. I can see that. Queen flexing book knowledge on us. Yes. Flex. But it's a really good book. I really like this one. It was very, very sad in the end. I got very, very sad and I started crying. I don't think I would have cried. Like I said, it's very obvious that the two main characters, Lenny and Margaret, are dying in the end of the book. That's not really what got to me because I knew that. I was prepared for them dying. But Margaret, the old lady, she was married once, but that didn't work out. Then she turned out that she was probably gay. But then that didn't work out, but she left. Then Margaret settled down with a man, and she had a wonderful years with him, and their relationship are like so beautiful. You can tell that Margaret wasn't happy because she's probably gay, but he was like the next best thing, and he was such a loving man and so wonderful. He didn't die, but he got Alzheimer's and he forgot about her, and he had told her that he didn't want her to come visit him in the nursing home once he doesn't remember her, because he doesn't want her to experience him not knowing who she is. And his entire persona and personality reminds me of my grandfather who died. So it was like that scene when he doesn't remember her was very hard to read, and I started crying, especially because a couple of chapters later it turns out, when you think about that scene, that he was lying about not remembering her, and he just wanted to be able to say goodbye to her before he forgot who she was. So he faked not knowing who she was just because he wanted to have that closure and goodbye. And then he told her that even though she was like 80 years old at that point when he died, he told her that maybe you should go and, you know, see the one you actually love, meaning the girl that got away. So he's like releasing her when she's 80 years old to go and be with her old flame lesbian lover. Ah, such a beautiful story, such a beautiful story. But there's so much to this book, and it was just so I don't know, I just loved it. And if there's one book in all of the books that I've been showing you today that I think that you guys should pick up and read, it's this one. 100% this one. They are also doing a movie for this one that will be out next year, I think, or maybe the ending of this year. I think they're in the casting process right now. But they're making a movie of this one because this book was super famous after it got out last year. So they're making a movie. That's kind of cool. I'm going to watch that movie for sure. And these are some books that I want to read for February. Hi. February, I don't know if you guys know, but February is Black History Month. I wanted to read something Black History, African, I think. So the book that I picked was The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocumb. Slocumb, that's a funny word. This book actually comes out now in February, and I've been looking forward to it for a very long time. I don't think it has any African history into it or Black history. More than the fact that the main character is black. But like I said, I haven't read it, so I have no idea. But I still picked it because, yeah, it's about a family who has a violin that they say are handed down in their family. Turns out that the violin might actually be stolen from another family who say that no, that violin is actually ours. And then this black main character, he's really good at violin, and in one big concert that he's going to play in, suddenly the violin that he has is stolen. And there's a little mystery on who stole it and why, and there is apparently a lot of people who have a lot of reasons to steal it. So it's like a little bit of like a mystery, but it also have a lot of a lot of music in it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm looking forward to reading it. I think it should be out today, the 5th of February. I think it's coming out, so it should be on its way to me because I pre-ordered it. Imagine being a reader, been a major slump. Oh no. For classics, because I want to read classics every month, at least one or two every month. I have decided to read the Bronte sisters books because I was thinking Valentine's month, maybe I should read something love related. But I don't really like romances with love when love is the main goal or the main plot. I want something more. And I've read I read Jane Eyre and I watched the movie of Wuthering Heights. So I'm going to read them. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, I read when I was like 15, I think. Wuthering Heights, I've never read. It's by Emily Bronte. Emily actually only wrote one book, and it's Wuthering Heights. Many told me, they were like, oh, I want to read more by Emily Bronte. But everyone is just speaking of Wuthering Heights, and I'm like, yeah, that's because she wrote it, and then she died. She died when she was like 30 years old, I think. But these girls, when they published their books, they published them under a different name, a male name, because, you know, at that time you could not be a female writer. And the first book that they wrote, I think it was like a compilation of short stories that all three sisters wrote together. But that never took off and it never got like famous. But then they decided that, okay, short stories are probably not the way to go. Let's write a proper fiction and a proper story. So Charlotte Bronte wrote Jane Eyre, Emily Bronte wrote Wuthering Heights, and Annie Bronte wrote Agnes Grey. And Agnes Grey I never read. I never read anything by Annie Bronte at all. She's the sister I always forget about. The Ballad of the Black Tom would be my pick for February if I get around to it. Oh, yeah. Nice pick. So I will do the Bronte sisters books. But yeah, that is actually all. That's all the books that I read. The Silvio Bruno, Blood on the Tracks, The Count of Monte Cristo, The White Little Girls, Sleepy Hollow, The Handmaid's Tale, Vi kommer hem till dig med hjärta, All Your Twisted Secrets, Boys Runs Riot, Smile, It's Just a Dream, The Silent of Bones, Spinning Silver, Confessions, The Mournable Buddy, Cat on the Edge, and The 100 Years of Lenny Margaret. Yay! That just took me 3 hours to go through. Damn, I have issues. Why do I have so many issues with speaking about books? It takes so long. Funny. Bam bam bam. Did you like it though? Back of doggies, the cat is on the edge? Exactly. Now the question, yes. Right now, I'm this month I actually read 3 books that I came halfway through that is not on the list. One is Robin Hood. I read half Robin Hood. I got a little bit bored because Robin Hood is not like one story. It's a compilation of short stories about Robin Hood and his band or gang. And every story has the same premises. Someone working for Prince John, looking for the gang and Robin Hood being witty and smart, and then conveying this person to be part of the gang. At the end, haha, Robin Hood is smarter than the prince and the sheriff. Kinda. And I read 200 of the 400 pages, but I got a little bit bored because I feel like it's the same story over and over again. It's just like different people that they are making part of the gang. So it's either like, oh, now we're having a priest, and now we have a monk, and now we have this tailman, and now we have this, and now we have like a police officer. I don't know. I got a little bit bored. Another book that I read half of was Perfect Blue. Let me get it. Wait. There we go. It's called Perfect Blue Awakened from a Dream. It's based in the same um, universe as the anime movie Perfect Blue. I thought it was going to be a proper story or a proper written or good written, but it's easy to tell that when you start reading it that it's not fan fiction, kind of fan fiction, but it's a light novel, and that doesn't mean it's bad. But this person made it bad. Let me read it to you so you guys can tell what I mean. Like, it doesn't describe anything. It's just actions. It's very like, he went here, he felt like this, he saw this, he said this, he wanted this, you know. She get very like upset with it. Let's see. Toshiko awoke. Fat beads of sweat clung on his forehead. They felt cold on his skin. Sitting up on his thin, slightly layered futon, he quickly shook his head a few times before taking a deep breath. He felt pain in his chest. Lowering his head, he pressed his fingers against the back of his neck and was met with a sharp jolt of displeasure. He felt like he just had a bad dream. He couldn't remember what it was, but somehow he was sure it had been pleasant. How can it have been pleasant though if it was a bad dream? Oh, whatever. He thought he remembered there being a woman with plastered on makeup. Her bright red lips had twisted into a crumbled smile as she let out a shrill squeak of laugh. His forehead was sticky with sweat. His heart was beating fast. When did I fall asleep? Toshiko wondered. Irritated, he reached out to switch off the source of his nightmare, or at least that's what he thought he had been the likely source. When he flickered the TV switch, the room went suddenly dark. He looked at his alarm clock. A little past 6 in the morning, pressing the thumbs on his forefinger for each hand against his throbbing templates, Toshiko slowly got to his feet. He went over to his window and threw open a faded curtains. It stung his eyes. As if chased away by sun, Toshiko retreated into a darker kitchen. A pile of old dishes had assembled in the sink. It's just like, I don't know. He let out a deep sigh. He felt slightly a bit better now. Okay. I don't know. It's not my cup of tea of writing. It's very simple. It's very boring. Nothing happens. It's just like, he went here. He opened the curtains. He didn't like the sun. He went to the kitchen. Kitchen is dark. Maybe it was a wet dream, pleasantly uncomfortable. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I will finish it because I read half of it. I read like 70 pages, and that's half. No, it's not even half. It's 190 pages. Yeah, okay, it's not even half. God damn it. Is it a light novel? It is, yeah. And to the dialogue are also extremely frustrating. Yeah, I don't know. Like the dialogue are so, yeah, so bad. So bad, so bad, so bad. Toshiko could see it in the eyes of the man. I will kill you, and myself. The stench of the man's body assaulted. Okay, it assaulted him. Toshiko's nose. In the next instant, he felt a burning pain in his side, and he's been struck by a hot tongs. Blood began soaking through his yellow dress. The man withdrew the knife. White fatty tissue clung on the blade, then split out and dangled from the open wound. Toshiko looked down on the yellow dress and red blood, the white fat. He found a strange beauty in the colors. He understood. The man had Toshiko's face. He had Toshiko's smell. He had Toshiko's personality. So who is he? He is me. The man looked into Toshiko's eyes and he blinked in sorrow. Toshiko felt incredible love for the man. I'm going to die soon. In those last moments, Toshiko looked at the man in the eyes with so much affection as he could and gave him a smile. The man smiled back at him. Still smiling, the intruder slashed his own throat open with the knife. As he coughed, fresh blood spilled out of his mouth. He tried to say something, though the cough but couldn't form the words. To Toshiko, it sounded like he wanted to say thank you. The man was telling him, thank you for understanding how I feel. The two shared a blood-soaked embrace. They held each other tight, so for a long as their ranks held out. Then, still intertwined, they fell to the floor. The two became one. The sunset painted the room in deep, deep red. It was terrible, tragic sight. Why did it have to be so tragic? I don't know. Those tend to have a more simplistic writing style for the sake of speed reading, I believe. Yeah, probably. Probably. I just don't like it. It's not my cup of tea. I just feel like the descriptions are so bad. To guys chilling in no bloodstained hug because they are manly. Technically, the story is about Toshiko one day waking up, and he has the body of a girl singer or a pop star, an idol that he loves, and I don't know. He's you know. I'm trying to see if I can find it where he turns out to be her. Oh, this. He hugged his arms around the TV where Asaki I remained on the screen, and his inner voice cried out for a deep within, I-chan. He squeezed his arm tight. The TV plastic shell cracked under the pressure. Tears trickled down from Toshiko's eyes. He had rejected the world and its realities, and for that his love of I had grown all the deeper, all the more so. But I want to see when he wakes up and he realizes, oh, he left pain. And pressed down where it hurt, his flesh squeezed under his hand. The shock registered not in his mind but the physical electric force that shoot through his body. For a moment his thought went blank, then hesitantly he felt at his chest again. His hand felt a small plump softness. His face went pale with stunned confusion. He probed the protrusion with the fingers as he squeezed the softness, and he wondered, am I sick? His grimy, flabby chest felt as if it taken for a gentle firmness of a woman's breast. He opened the top of his pajamas shirt and looked inside, and there it was, a breast, 2 of them even, and he had never seen a woman's breast in real life before. 2 tiny pink points stood. No, I'm not going to talk about the nipples, okay? Toshiko could not believe it was real. He thought he might still have caught in the early nightmare, the deep throbbing pain persistent in his head. What is this, he thought, and taking a great effort to convince himself this is a nightmare. And then he realizes it was the face of his beloved Asaki Ai. Oh no, he turned out to be his idol. What luck, he thought. What luck that I don't have any friends. What luck that I don't socialize. My parents, my only family, never leave the countryside. That means that I get to live the rest of my life here in this apartment as Asaki Ai. As soon as he came to that realization, shivers of delight ran through his body. Because he had a little in the way of friends or acquaintances, hardly anyone ever came to visit his apartment. He would be able to stay here with her forever and ever with no one to interfere. His most beloved idol was him now, and his alone. Oh my god. And then he continues to touching her for hours and days. Toshiko ogled his naked form with all his greasy lust and his almost 30-year-old male mind. Oh no. Not the 30-year-old male mind. Captivated by the beauty of his own breast, he cupped one in each hand and lifted them from below. He pinched his nipples between his thumbs and forefingers and felt the rush of deep thrill only women could understand. With a perverse stare of a man, Toshiko watched the idol grope her own chest. He experienced the act from both sides at once. The woman's physical pleasure and the man's emotional thrill. He squeezed Ai's breasts so hard the sensation edged into pain, and he left out a wordless moan. Oh my god. So rapey. Tochiko's eyes fixtured on a single point. With full intensity, his male gaze bore down upon the meeting point between Ai's pale thighs. Toshiko picked up the small mirror from beside him and drew it near the space between his legs. He whispered, "Aw," and then he said, This is Ai's." But the rest he got caught up in his throat. His fingers wriggling like spider legs, he fondled her hidden place with unbreathable lust. Several hours later, his passion had ebbed out. His body weary, Toshiko lay on his futon on the TV near the bed. Asaki Ai was performing her newest song while he watched in the form of the fully naked Ai. A perverse pleasure ruled Toshiko's body. Don't get to go. As a 30-year-old man, I feel so underrepresented. You like being heard? Oh my god. Yeah. This reminds me of Perfect Blue, where she thinks she's an idol. Yeah. So, yeah. He fingered herself, I guess. Oh, wait. It's beautiful, Toshiko thought. Fever shivers of delight ran through his body. He hugged himself, his arms crossed over the chest, and with a fountain of desire flooded through him. Ai-chan, he cried out inside himself and lay down on the futon. But yeah, you know, if you're into that stuff, yeah, why not? I just never understood it, because the first story, because there's 3 stories in this one. The first story is about this guy who one day he wakes up and he has the body of the idol that he's in love with, which is weird, because technically he says that she's 14. She's about to be 15, but she's 14, the idol. And he's 30 years old, and when he gets her body, he's excited and fondling and touching her and everything. I mean, it's a bit weird, age-wise. Especially because it's, like, legit described that he's 30-year-old male gaze. You know? they're making it very clear that he's 30 years old. You know. but then, you know, they ended with him getting a stalker that has his face and then kills him as Ai-chan, but it also kills him with his own face on. So I'm confused. I'm confused. Like, what actually happened? Right now, I'm on the second story, and the second story is about the idol's perspective, but not this idol, but another idol. And the other idol, she is getting a lot of like stalker-ish emails and phone calls and stuff. And her manager is saying it's nothing and she shouldn't care too much about it. Do the stories go into any actual physical themes though, beyond the perviness? I mean psychological themes. No. Not really. Not that I've seen yet. I only read 70 pages, so not yet. But who knows? Maybe. Maybe I will have to pick it up. I just found it pretty weird. You know? I read it and I was like, what? But yeah, I felt like it, like the story is kind of like a bad Google Translate. It's very much, I woke up, I was sweaty, I am hungry, I opened the curtains, it blinded me, so I went to the dark kitchen, I washed my face, I went back to my futon, I watched this TV show, I like Ai-chan, Ai-chan cute. You know? It's a bit odd, isn't it? When your fanfiction get published? Kinda, yeah, kinda. But you know, I don't mind fanfiction. A lot of people is like, oh, so you don't like light novels and fanfictions and stuff, and I'm like, I do. I also love erotica, so for me this isn't weird. This is very tame compared to what I usually read. I just find maybe I find the age inappropriate. I think that's the only thing I find weird. And then I don't like the writing style in itself. A lot of light, you know, novels and fan fiction can be written good and can be written in good style, but I feel like this wasn't as much. It's not my cup of tea. A lot of people have given it 2 stars and kind of bad reviews, so it's not very popular. I know there's another one called Perfect Blue Metamorphosis or something like that, and people like that a lot more than this one. So maybe I got the bad one. I'm not sure. I'm getting hungry now. I haven't eaten anything. Oh, it's 2 o'clock already. Damn, time flies when you have fun, huh? Tonight in 8 o'clock tonight in Sweden time, we have the Swedish Melodifestivalen, which is basically this song competition where we pick who to send for Eurovision, who's the song competition in Europe. It started at 8 o'clock and we're going to watch it together on my Discord, so anyone who's interested, just join the Discord and then we're going to have a party. Ophilia got hungry, she went to kitchen, she got nums. Yes. I want to make toast with Nutella on it. And then I'm going to play some League of Legends. I thought that this stream was going to be super quick and I was going to be like done in 30 minutes or like 40 minutes maybe, because I was like, oh, you know, I'm just going to tell them what books I read. But look at me, I can speak 3 hours about books I read in 1 month. I have issues. Hopefully it wasn't too boring for you guys and you still enjoyed it. Hi. And I hope you guys see you guys on movie night tonight and watching some song competitions and rating the bad singing together and the bad dress choices that they have. Always fun. Goodbye everyone, and thank you for watching. Kisses.